Ask Mystery.
Former New York Times rock critic Neil Strauss will be the first one to tell you that he never was very good with the ladies. And as an old friend of his from years back, I can pretty much vouch that that was indeed the case. So you can imagine my surprise when I caught up with him recently and he told me that he'd spent the last 2 years transforming himself from what he calls an average, frustrated chump into one of the most renowned and respected pickup artists in the world. That's right, we're talking about this guy right here. But it's all true. Every word and every detail of the fascinating adventure that led to him becoming a guru in a secret society of pickup artists is recounted in his best-selling book, The Game. For this next Megapod, I sat down with Neil in Las Vegas to get the whole story, why he did it, how he did it, and how other men all over the world are applying his secrets of seduction. Las Vegas. They call it Sin City because the streets are just filled with freewheeling single-party people out looking for a good time. Geez, finding someone here to have a good time with ought to be a piece of cake. Right? So, are there a lot of hot, young, single women here in Las Vegas?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
I'd say so.
Yeah. And have you been meeting them?
Yeah.
And how's that been going for you?
Well, if I like people going like this.
So have there been a lot of guys approaching you and trying lines, that sort of thing?
Girls, like, what are we gonna do? We're like kicking them off us.
Are you guys meeting ladies?
No, okay. We're meeting ladies, but we're not like connecting real well.
Why not? What's the disconnect?
It's probably me.
Let's face it, if you're a woman and you want to hook up, it's pretty easy, because most guys are, well, pretty easy. But men, on the other hand, have to face and overcome a series of challenges if they want to get lucky. Just approaching a woman can be nerve-wracking, let alone doing and saying all the right things to actually close the deal. And yet some guys seem to have a real gift for this sort of thing. So what's their secret? Neil Strauss is one guy who knows a thing or two about picking up women. His best-selling book, The Game, chronicles his 2-year-long mission to penetrate a secret society of pickup artists and master their secrets of seduction.
I originally didn't get in this to do a book. Like, the original point was to fix the problems with women in my life. Because despite writing for the New York Times and whatever success I had, I still was always the guy who ended up in friend zone. You meet the girl, you have a massive crush on her, and you get what these guys call the LJBF speech, the let's just be friends speech.
Now, Neil's been around a lot of beautiful women, hobnobbing with rock stars, while writing books for the likes of Dave Navarro, Motley Crue, Marilyn Manson, even porn star Jenna Jameson. But still, he found himself unable to parlay all that into success with the ladies. Describe a typical encounter with a woman before you learn this.
Typical encounter would be, hey, do you know where Houston Street is? Okay, thanks. or if I was more sophisticated, it might be, do you know what the opening act was? I remember, man, like going on a date with a girl there, and like she was a bit tipsy when I met her, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm in. So we sat down together, and she started making out with the guy next to me. I just felt horrible.
But all of that would soon change. On the tip of a book editor, Neil began to investigate an online network of pickup artists and found a whole community of men just like him.
All over the world, there are layers where men meet to discuss tips and tactics for meeting women. And they're all connected on the internet, where they all communicate and share ideas and techniques. So what makes a pickup artist different than a guy who's just good with women is that he is executing a sort of logical, planned out, scientific method.
With tens of thousands of active members worldwide, they use pseudonyms to post about their experiences in the field, sharing theories on the best ways to put beautiful women under your spell. But by far, the best-known pickup artist in the community was a man known simply as Mystery. What was your first encounter like with Mystery? Can you describe that for me?
Yeah, the first time I met Mystery, I just read about him online. It was the first workshop he'd ever done.
And Neil was my very first student. I had 3 or 4 students, I forget now for the life of me. And he was one of them.
And we met at the Roosevelt Hotel, and I was really nervous because I'd read about these guys' exploits online.
At the time, it was my first boot camp. In field, bringing students, you know, into public gatherings so that I can train them in a live coaching environment.
But, you know, we just sat down, we just broke it down in this great analytical way. Then you see Scott Baio in the corner with his girlfriend, and he goes in, and magically, within 20 minutes, has her phone number. And as he's doing it, Scott Baio goes to me, is this an illusion or is he stealing my girlfriend? Right then, I'm like, I want to learn everything this guy has to say, you know, every move he makes, every illusion he knows. And I basically spent the next year traveling around with him, picking his brain constantly.
So Mystery took Neil under his wing, transformed him physically, and even gave him a new name, Style. Together, they traveled the globe, meeting and training other pickup artists and posting about their insights and exploits along the way. Before long, Mystery and Style had become the two most influential members of the community. Quite simply, the greatest pickup artists in the world.
My original idea for the book was I go meet the greatest pickup artists in the world, and I do, you know, a chapter profile of each one, almost like a great book on con men or something like that. But I gradually found myself becoming one of them instead, and gradually the story became about my own journey through it.
Neil Strauss.
Since the publishing of the game, Neil has become nothing short of a cultural icon, a hero to countless men.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys.
You have become a fixture of this community at the highest level. I mean, I watch these guys in this seminar, and they just huddle around you. They just, it's crazy.
Here's what's crazy. Even before I wrote the book, it was the same response. Like, guys would come and take photos with me and get my autograph. They didn't even know I was Neil Strauss back then. I was just Style. And they would rather have Style than Neil Strauss, because Style can fix their romantic problems. And I never thought it would go this far.
You're going to go bait, hook, reel, release. Then, normal routine, just entertaining, keep her occupied. Because you released, and you gotta wait for her to show IOIs again before you bait, hook, reel, release again.
Today, the skills that Mystery and Style perfected have been turned into a full-fledged curriculum. Here in Las Vegas, over 100 would-be pickup artists have crowded into a ballroom to learn firsthand what is known as the Mystery Method.
Depending on the value of the girl. You know, you approach a girl, she's gonna assume you're like the last guy. But if you come in, start your opener, I throw the neg, keep talking, that'll keep her interested. Jesus Christ, what's up with this guy?
Let's talk a little bit about this method. It's not just like one little secret. It's not just one notion. It's not just a line.
Exactly. The goal of this really is to attract somebody. And that's what you're out there to do. You're out there trying to get attraction. All this stuff was modeled for what people who are naturally good with women do automatically. So it's backward engineered.
All pickups begin with an approach and what's called an opener.
The idea is you're trying to start a conversation without hitting on someone. That's all you do. That's the idea. And so the most casual way to do it is to say, hey, I need a quick opinion on something. About relationships is great. Some weird fact, like who sings a certain song, anything. The idea of an opener is not to make somebody like you or want to have sex with you or want to marry you. The idea of an opener is just to get somebody to talk to you. How do you break the ice? And it's a scary thing for most guys, to break the ice.
See, most guys, when they first get into this game, they think, okay, there's the girl, and all I have to do is approach her, and the game begins. Well, women of particular beauty are rarely found alone. They're usually in groups of people, right? So you're going to have to work the group.
Working the group, or set, is at the heart of the game. The woman you desire is known as the target, and everyone else in the set is an obstacle. And while all of this can take years to master, it essentially boils down to 3 stages. Stage 1, attraction.
If you approach a woman and you're a guy, you're automatically lower status than her because every guy is coming up to her. So how do you get her to be interested in you? Because if you start hitting on her right away, you're just a creepy guy hitting on her. So you have to actively push her away and say, I'm not interested, to get her to chase you.
All right, this is accomplished by using comments and body language called negs, which actually indicate your disinterest in the target.
Here, give me your hands. I'll show you something kind of cool. You know what? I've changed my mind. That's disgusting. What did you do to your hands? You licking your palms or something, you sicko?
According to Mystery, these little insults make women have to know why you're not interested.
The idea is to antagonize the target to try to chase you. That's the purpose of the negging. I'm disqualifying myself and disarming the obstacles, but at the same time, these little disqualifiers are making her go, oh! And that's what I'm looking for.
The sad truth about people is If it comes to us too easily, we don't think it has any value. The harder we have to work for something, the more value we put on it. So you want to make yourself hard to work for and not come to her too easily, because she's going to think you have no value.
Once you've demonstrated your value and piqued her interest, it's on to stage 2, comfort.
For most girls, they don't want to sleep with a guy they don't have an emotional connection to. Right. So you have to sit down, and this is where you ask all the questions you can't before, which is you find out your commonalities, the things you have in common, you find out who they're about, you have to know what you're about, you really bond.
And once a woman is attracted and feels comfortable, things naturally move into stage 3, seduction.
A lot of this is counterintuitive. I think when you first read about some of these techniques, you go, well, that doesn't seem right. That's not how a woman wants to be treated. That's not how I've been taught a woman would respond to this kind of interaction.
It's the biggest hurdle for people reading the book and the media. But for a guy who his whole life has been doing what he thinks is logical, because he's a smart guy, he's an engineering student, or he's a New York Times writer. These are intelligent guys with lots of logic, yet their logic hasn't been helping them meet women. So you're smart enough to realize that what you think is logical does not actually work.
Mihao is one such guy, a former student who now helps Mystery with training in the field.
How many sets do you think you might approach in any given night?
Well, tonight it's we're teaching, right? So it's sort of going to be demos. Like typically, I'll just work. The first set will be, you know, a girl I can spend the rest of the night with. So you don't really need to do a ton, but we're going to do a ton tonight because we're doing demos. The other thing that you can do is sort of walk in and just meet everybody, just be social. Because remember, this isn't about the game. This is not the evil artist seduction. This is just being yourself.
Tonight, each of these students will get a chance to put the Mystery method into practice for themselves. Of course, Mystery will be there along with Mihao to coach them throughout the night.
So after all the theory, after all the lectures and all the practice, this is where students really get a chance to put it into action, right?
Exactly. We are right now on our way to what we call in-field. At the nightclub that we're heading to right now, they're waiting for me, and I've already got a couple of approach coaches. These are former students of mine turned approach coaches. I've caught them up to speed in a game I absolutely love. And their job is just to make sure that the students get enough interactions. I'm telling you, I have the most incredible job.
All right.
Inside the club, Mystery works directly with students, while Mihao demonstrates how to build attraction and comfort with a female 2-set.
When I go into a set, what I'm thinking about is I don't give a shit. Like, that's really the last thought I have before I open, because that makes me not worry about the outcome, just makes me go in and have a good time. The problem was there was 2 of them, and they were both into it, and they started sort of having this, like every time I would talk to her, this one would cut in, I start talking to her, she would cut in. So I grab them on my arms, we walk over to their friends, and all of them introduce me to their husbands, who they have been ignoring for the last half hour while they're hanging out with me in our VIP area.
Then Mihao ups the ante with a female 4-set.
There are 4 very attractive women just looking at the dance floor, doing nothing. So I just walk in and I say, hey, you guys have a cool energy, you have to come over and say hi. So I'm doing there, sort of creating attraction and comfort with these girls by, I'm busting on them and I'm just having a good time. They know I'm not hitting on them because, you know, who would try to pick up a girl by busting on her? And I sort of spun them around, and all of a sudden, you know, these 2 were won over, and then I knew these other ones were bored, so I had to literally like tag them and be like, hey, show is over here. Show is over here. And then I'm winning over the whole group. So what happens is when a professionally trained or a natural or a combination thereof individual or man walks in a place like that and starts doing this thing, a lot of times women have never been exposed to this person. So they respond to it very powerfully.
I hate the word impossible. You know, there's 5 girls over there talking to a rock star. You can't go in there, that's impossible. Everything is possible. You just need to know how to do it. The whole idea of the community is we're leveling the playing field. These guys who never had a chance can now compete and even outmaneuver the jocks, you know, and the cool guys and the rock stars.
This game has become a cultural phenomenon. There's no doubt about this, all right? And we're spearheading this now. And you can't stop this heavy-duty moving train. This is a locomotive. There's no stopping this. It's explosively controversial because it works.
Good night.
So what's Style up to these days? Well, let's just say he's enjoying the fruits of his transformation and success. The game has already been translated into countless foreign languages, and the entire pickup community continues to grow around the globe. Frankly, I've never seen him happier. Hey, if you'd like to dive deeper into the details of this movement, of which we've only scratched the surface,